Welcome to the Full Story series, where we take some of our older stories right here at Comicstorian and we combine them into a long, epic video. You're going to notice certain things that happen during this. Sometimes my voices will change, the quality of the video may go up and down, but overall you're going to get the collection of almost a year of videos into one giant movie. Now this story is known as Batman and Robin Eternal. Batman is missing during this period in continuity, and it's up to the Bat family to figure out what's going on and to figure out what big secret did Batman keep from the Robins. Enjoy. It all began a long time ago after Grayson had just become Robin, and he was on one of his first missions with Batman, the good old days, before Dick Grayson was a spy for Spiral, racing up the side of a building chasing his target. The man he was chasing started to comment on how he was getting away, and Grayson told him that he called in for backup. Because when you're in Gotham, you always have the family. Jason Todd, a former Robin killed by the Joker who then returned as the Red Hood, opens fire with non-lethal rounds on the man, warning Grayson to be careful of breaking the windows. The new Batman is kind of a jerk. The guy they are chasing begins dodging all of the bullets that Jason is firing, and then a window blows out, revealing Tim Drake. He was never a Robin, but he took the name Red Robin because he was always the smartest in the group, and he worked with Batman in more of a partner role instead of a sidekick role. The guy they are chasing looks confused at Tim, and that's when Jason and Grayson get into the building behind him and knock him out. Grayson thanks his brothers for their help, and then he borrows a grappling line because it's the only way to get around in Gotham, and it's time to get back to his super secret spy stuff. Meanwhile, across Gotham in the Narrows, that jerk robot Batman lifted up a dumpster to find Harper Row. She's now going by the name Bluebird and decided to join the Bat family during a recent incident. Robot Batman is actually Jim Gordon. He took up the mantle while the real Batman was missing. In truth, the real Batman has amnesia from a battle with the Joker and is in town as Bruce Wayne only. Jim tells Harper that she's coming with him. He's going to impound her costume and weapons and then let her go. And she calls him a fake Batman and tells him that she knows the real Batman. Then she locks down his computer systems and using her own grappling line, she leaves. Grayson moves over to his next mission at a local museum, and it reminds him of the last time that he was here. A battle with Dr. Crane, who also goes by the name of Scarecrow. It all happened way back when Dick first started with Batman. Dr. Crane had used his fear toxins to gain control of his class and turn them against Batman and Robin. That's when a fight broke out here in this museum. But he's brought out of memory lane by a child walking up behind him and informing him it did start here, and that's why she thought it would be a perfect place to kill you. Grayson calls up his partner Poppy, confused, but he finds that they are blocking his comms. The children continue. Nobody to call, nobody to help, no big bad Batman to come save the day. They all pull guns on him and Grayson vaults into the sky dodging the shots. He then makes a break for the exit, but the children don't give chase. They don't have to worry. Orphan is en route. Realizing that he's boxed in, Grayson sees no other option and he jumps out the window sprinting for the van where his partner is. As he gets to it though, things take a turn for the worst, as Poppy pulls a gun on him. I'm sorry Dick, there's no other way. Mother says hello. Grayson grabs a motorcycle and he drives off with her shooting at him. But as he's speeding away, a woman grapples off of a bridge and kicks him off of his motorcycle. Grayson looks up stunned. Who are you? In front of him is a girl in a black outfit with yellow trimmings. Grayson gets up charging at her, but she instantly pinpoints multiple points to hit him and tags them all, dropping him. Grayson can see her form and he knows that she's holding back from being lethal, but why? She then stands over him and utters a single word, Mother. Then she throws him a flash drive and she leaves. While he begins to head back to the Batcave, Harper Row gets a knock at her door. She opens it to find Orphan standing there, informing her that she is the key to everything and she needs to die. Back in the cave, Dick puts the flash drive in and he sees a list with names on it. Richard Grayson, Jason Todd, Timothy Drake, Harper Row, and Cassandra Cain, along with a bunch of others. Then a pre-recorded message from Batman begins to play. Dick, this is my confession. I'm not the man that you think I am. I have failed you. I spent so long hoping you would never find out what I did all of those years ago. It happened in the summer that we spent chasing Crane around the world. You mustn't underestimate Mother. She has agents all around the world. Stay alive, and please forgive me, Dick. Bruce, what did you do? Several years ago in Cairo, Egypt, Bruce stood over two individuals killed by a gun, holding the smoking gun, and informing Mother it all went according to plan. Over in Harper's apartment in the modern day, she is laid out, beaten and bloody when Cassandra Cain comes flying through the window, kicking Orphan in the back and punching him across the face. They begin battling back and forth and Grayson parks his motorcycle beneath the window. He was following the name Harper Row to her house, and that's when he sees the fight happening above. He begins to vault up the side of the building to join in, and a girl named Stephanie Brown happens to be walking by and sees him go into into action. Kiss me, sexy Batman. But Stephanie isn't just a looky-loo. She's spoiler, and she thinks it's time to suit up. Cassandra continues going back and forth with Orphan, and Harper reaches for her stun gun, hitting Orphan with it full blast. As he begins falling to the streets down below, Grayson catches him, but he spins around, kicking Grayson in the face, and then he makes a break for it. Cassandra runs past Grayson, and he tells her, I get it, you go get him and I'll get the injured girl. He runs inside to find Harper and sees a mask and gun nearby. Wait, you're a superhero too? How many costume teens are running around Gotham these days? At that moment, Spoiler kicks the door in, telling Grayson to get away from her friend. He eyeballs her. Are they giving away costumes in cereal boxes now? Stephanie recognizes Grayson right away. You are sexy Batman! You're Dick Grayson, Nightwing, the guy that the evil Justice League killed! Grayson begins bandaging up Harper. But back at the first Scarecrow fight all those years ago, Batman and Robin followed Scarecrow to an actual cornfield. Thinking that they were gonna get a drop on him, they started to approach him. But that's when he got the drop on them, spraying them both with fear gas. Robin fell into a nightmare where all of Batman's villains captured him, and he failed Batman. Batman had to let the Scarecrow go to save Robin, and he tried to snap Robin out of it as he was saying, I'm not good enough for you, not good enough for Batman. Back in the present day, Red Robin comes in the window when Grayson finishes bandaging up Harper. Red Robin explains that he was monitoring Harper and Stephanie because you never know what kind of trouble these two get into. Dick explains what he knows about the list and how everyone on it is a target, so they decide to call up Jason Todd to warn him, and he informs them that he's kind of aware since she's kind of there right now. He pulls a gun on Cassandra Cain, and she spies all of his weak points before kicking him into a jukebox behind him. He snaps a CD, commenting how he's so out of touch of music because he didn't even know Cheap Trick came out with a CD, and he gets up pulling out cyber armor blades. Cassandra dodges them over and over until Grayson shows up and slams Jason's arm into the bar. Grayson tells Jason that it's all a misunderstanding. She is here to protect him from the actual assassin, so the whole crew goes back to the Batcave to bandage Harper up properly. There, Grayson shows everyone the list and the message from Batman, revealing that he doesn't know anything. Harper is excited that she finally got to the Batcave, though Stephanie agrees that this isn't exactly the situation in which they wanted to come here. After realizing that they've got nothing, Helena, the current head of the Spiral organization that Grayson is working for, contacts him to let him know that they had no idea that Pompey had turned, and they give him all of the information that they have on Mother, which isn't much. But at least they figured out that Mother is a human trafficker with the ability to make designer human assassins. Grayson asks who would want those, and Jason gives him the golden answer. Maybe someone who could use a loyal child soldier, or 3, and they all realize how Batman may have gotten involved in this, and it may not have been for the best intentions. Several years ago, Batman drove back to the Batcave with Robin suffering from the fear toxins. It takes a minute, but he finally snaps Robin out of it, and he asks him what he saw. Robin explains that he felt like he wasn't good enough for Batman, and he asks Batman what he saw when he was gassed, and Batman informed him he saw nothing. Back in the present day, Helena gives Dick one more piece of information on Poppy before she broke their trackers. She's currently at Beacon Tower, where a gala is going on and Bruce Wayne is in attendance. All of the Robins know that Bruce is alive, but the problem is, Bruce has no idea that he's Batman and therefore has no training in being Batman. He can't defend himself. Grayson, without even thinking, hops on a motorcycle and drives off. At the gala, Bruce Wayne steps into the back room and everyone in there welcomes him, pulling out weapons, telling him, Mother says hello. Confused, he asks, who? As they come in to hit him, Grayson jumps in, pushing Bruce to the ground. Bruce asks him, who are these people? And Grayson tells him, passionate food inspectors. Really? No, not really. Grayson then gets to work non-lethally dropping as many of these people as he can, while Red Robin begins running ops from the Bat computer. Knives and blades go over Grayson's head over and over, and that's when the Robin Gang shows up. These are a series of kids from the comics We Are Robin, taking up the name Robin to keep the street-level thugs down. Red Robin tells Grayson that they are friendlies, don't worry, and while they keep the would-be assassins busy, Grayson grabs Bruce and he makes a break for it. But there are still too many would-be assassins, so Batgirl jumps in to help everyone out. With a giant team effort, they manage to drop each and every one of the would-be assassins. Grayson thanks Duke from the Robin Gang and he informs him, I was the first to wear the R, and you wear it well. Back in the Batcave, Cassandra begins exploring the Batcave and Harper catches her, telling her that we should stay put, but without saying a word. Cassandra motions for Harper to come with her. They need to see something. And Stephanie gets irritated that everyone just left her alone in the Batcave. During all of this, Grayson says his goodbyes to Bruce Wayne and he calls up Red Robin and Jason back at the base. The names they had from the gala, they weren't targets, they were the assassins. Sleeper agents placed all over Gotham, and they have no idea who they can trust. Red Robin can't understand it. How did these assassins get past all of the security checks? And Grayson wants to know how they got past Tim. All of the security checks are in place, and when they fail, there's Tim. And Bruce almost died tonight because Tim failed. But that's when Grayson's biggest concern comes up. If those names weren't targets, then what are they? Because their names, all of the Robins, are on that list too. And to try and figure out why Tim would almost get Bruce killed, Grayson arrives at the Drake household. Stephanie then walks over to tell Jason and Tim that Harper and Cassandra are wandering somewhere in the cave, and Jason gets into an argument about how could she let them go. But while they're arguing, Tim walks into a corner of the cave to answer a secret phone. Yes, Mother? During Dick Grayson's first year as Robin, when they were hunting Dr. Crane, also known as Scarecrow. The police ransacked Dr. Crane's apartment, but Batman had a lead as to where Crane might have gone. Batman and Robin went to the church across the street, St. Elijah, where Dr. Crane was meeting with someone named Orphan. Crane needs Orphan to bring him to Prague, and Orphan is apparently using the fear gas to stay lucid. Batman and Robin get ready to crash the meeting, but Orphan knows that they are coming, and so Crane and Orphan vanish without a trace. Luckily, Batman heard the words Prague quite often. Meanwhile, back at the current day, Grayson swings by the Drake's residence, Tim's parents. Last night, Bruce Wayne was attacked, and it's something that Tim should have been able to prevent, but for some reason he didn't. Concerned that one of his own may be compromised by Mother's attacks, Grayson decided to visit Tim's parents without Tim knowing. He was just gonna ask basic questions of Tim's parents until the doorbell rang, and on the other side stood Poppy, his ex-partner who actually is compromised by Mother, and she's holding an axe. While this is happening, Harper and Cassandra break into the church, St. Elijah. Cassandra took Harper with her because she wanted to show her something. But since Cassandra doesn't speak, it's up to Harper to just follow her around and try to figure it out. Cassandra walks Harper over to a statue and presses a button. And that's when Orphan jumps out. He asks Harper why she would follow Cassandra. To make a connection with the girl? She isn't capable after what they've made her into. Harper is in shock. This can't be happening. Grayson jumps out of the way as Poppy brings the axe down onto a chair, and they keep smashing things up as Grayson keeps dodging. That's when Tim's parents walk into a panic room and they activate the house's defenses. The whole house changes around and announces that human snares are coming. Grayson looks around in shock. What? Back at the church, Harper jumps in fighting Orphan, but he tosses her aside easily. She isn't the most well-trained of the Bat family. That's when Cassandra jump kicks Orphan. He swings his sword at her, and then she dodges, falling over. Orphan then holds his hand out, telling Cassandra to stop this, rejoin the family, and her response is kicking his sword into the sky and cutting his hand off with it. Orphan gets up, dropping smoke pellets, and he makes a run for it. But Harper, thinking fast, shoots a tracer onto Orphan's foot. She then walks over to ask Cassandra if she's okay. Cassandra turns around crying, and Harper holds her. It's okay. You're okay. Back at the Drake residence, the house begins to fire snares at Poppy and Grayson over and over, and Grayson dodges while fighting Poppy. He gets in a good headbutt, knocking her off her balance, and then he carries her out of the house as he breaks open the door. And that's when he sees standing in front of him is Tim, demanding to know what the heck is going on. He built this to get his family away from their life, and here Grayson is, bringing their life back to his family. Grayson told him that he just did what Bruce would have done. So Tim hits him over the face. I expect it from Bruce, not from you. And with that, he walks away. And Grayson doesn't have his answers as to why Tim seemingly didn't check the security. Several years ago, at the Kane County airfield, Batman and Robin are chasing Scarecrow's plane, trying to stop him from going to Prague. Batman told Robin to pull back, but he refused, and he sped up, jumping onto the plane and prying open the door, only to find bombs. He quickly jumped off as it exploded behind him. The ground was very far away, but luckily, Batman had the Batwing come by and pick up the falling Robin. Back at the Batcave, Robin was furious that he failed. It's because of him that Scarecrow got away. Batman tells him to calm down and come to the party upstairs. Alfred would appreciate it, but Robin is furious at himself, and he tells him to just go. Bruce walks upstairs, and he quickly walks into the back garden where an old acquaintance named Maxwell steps out to find him there. That's when they talk about Bruce's father and Bruce's own legacy. Bruce explains that he took in an orphan boy, but Maxwell insists. When will Bruce meet Mrs. Wayne? Bruce shrugs it off. He has a bit of a darkness inside of him that doesn't really work well with relationships, and Maxwell tells him to look into that room. In there is his own wife. She cost Maxwell $40 million. There is a person named Mother who can get you exactly what you're looking for the right price. But then Maxwell stops what he's saying when he sees another man eyeballing him. Bruce goes back down into the Batcave to do a facial scan on that man, and it comes back with nothing. And then when he goes to look at the security cameras from Maxwell's home, Orphan steps into frame, knocking out the camera. Batman panics and he climbs into the Batmobile, speeding off to see what's going on. But he arrived too late. Maxwell and the woman were already dead, and Batman was picking up traces of fear toxin on the scene. So it was settled. Batman and Robin were going to Prague to see how this all links together. Back in the current day, Grayson shows up at the apartment that he put Harper and Cassandra in to pick them up, because he's gonna bring them all to Prague. So Grayson is going to follow the trail from that mission all of those years ago by following Orphan's tracer. Once they arrive in Prague though, they lose the tracer. Luckily, the list that Cassandra brought them earlier is helpful because only one person on it is still alive in Prague, the Prima of the Prague Ballet. So Grayson tells Harper and Cassandra to find the Prima before Orphan does, and he loans them some clothes to wear. While they do that, Grayson will track down Orphan. While this is going on, Jason and Tim chat about what happened, because Jason understands what it means to be the Robin that no one trusts. Over in Prague, the girls go to the ballet, and it's the first time that Cassandra is getting to experience all of this. A nice dress, a nice night out, and a fantastic show. Then the Prima of the ballet comes onto stage, and Cassandra's eyes grow with anger, and she says the one thing that she can. Mother. Grayson has been following around Prague following the message, and that's when he finds the tracker. They knew that they were there, and the whole situation is a trap. He tries to call up Harper to let her know, but the signal is being blocked. And then a spotlight hits both of the girls, and everyone on the stage jumps off to fight them. While this is going on, an elderly woman with white hair shows up in front of Grayson. Hello, Dick. It's nice to see you again. Several years ago, a similar scene was happening when Bruce and Dick Grayson came to this very same ballet, and Bruce walked into this very same back room to find a young woman with white hair. But he knew her name, and he referred to her as Mother. Back in the present day, Mother approached Dick, telling him that she's wanted to talk, while Harper and Cassandra get to work defending themselves. Harper starts trying to call out, "Dick, if you're alive, we kinda need you." But Mother tells him that she jammed the signal. They can't hear him. Mother then tells him he was never what Batman wanted. That's why Bruce went to Mother, for a proper heir. While this is going on, Cassandra and Harper are fighting their hardest, and Mother grins. They're putting up more of a fight than you did, Dick. That's what Bruce wanted, someone with more fight. Which Robin did you give him? Grayson asks. Oh, you don't know? It could be anyone. Goodness, that doubt must gnaw to you. Years ago, when Bruce first saw Mother, Bruce explained that he was looking for a particular woman. He believes in Mother's products, but he was actually using this as a chance to drop a tracker on her. She thanks him for his interest, and she tells him that she'll be in touch. Back in the present day, Harper continues beating on as many as she can, but just when one of them is about to get the drop on her, Cassandra throws an object into that woman's face. Then she runs over to battle against the prima of the ballet herself. Cassandra is beating on her viciously until someone hits her over the head. An older woman walks over to the prima and told her, "Look, you killed this one. You can stop now." The prima seemingly snaps out of it, and then she is helped off stage, and Cassandra gets up from the blow to her head. She stumbles back out to find Harper looking at all of the would-be assassins that they need to fight. Meanwhile, Grayson realizes that he needs to help Harper and Cassandra. He has to go there, but Mother tells him, don't go. If they are strong, they will survive. And if they don't, well, they're useless. Dick tells her that he won't leave them, and she tells him, if you leave now, you'll never learn what Bruce did, and you'll never see my face again. But Dick made the obvious choice. He joined in the fight against the assassins until they beat back all of them. It's all about the family, but as they finished up, something startled Cassandra and she ran off into the night. Harper and Dick both head back to the Prague Batcave where they realize that they've lost track of Mother and Orphan. Dick looks over at Harper and he tells her, hopefully Mother will make a mistake and they will have a lead soon. And Harper asks him, what do we do next? We stick together, Harper. There's so few of us left as it is. While this is going on, since Tim is currently mad at Grayson, Jason and Tim have decided to follow up on their own leads, and they're gonna go off on their own adventures. Back with Tim and Jason, they've been following their own trail of black market dealings that leads them to the island of Santa Prisca, and a group going by the name of the Order of St. Dumas. Just as they get there though, they find a massive castle set on the island, and they are attacked by Bane of all people. Jason is happy for a rematch, but Bane grabs Jason by his red hood and smashes the mask. As he goes in to kill Jason, Tim pulls out one of Jason's guns on Bane, telling him to stop, and Jason groggily states, I had this under control. They all agree on an iffy truce, because while Bane was gone, whoever the Order of St. Dumas is took in his soldiers, and Jason and Tim also need their answers. Meanwhile, over in Prague, Grayson and Harper decide to start crunching some numbers, and they decide to try and pick up another trail on Mother. But several years ago, during Dick Grayson's first year as Robin, Bruce Wayne was running around Prague at night. He arranged a meeting with Mother, but once he got to the meeting, she outright called him Batman. He tried to deny it, but she explained that the little piece of information she gave to Bruce Wayne somehow got leaked, and Batman's right-hand sidekick, Robin, showed up on that site. He continues to play off the idea that he wanted a wife as Bruce Wayne, but Mother isn't buying it, and she begins to swing at him and tells him that she knows exactly what he's after, a better Robin. Bruce broke her staff and then he made a break for the doorway. But back in the present day, Jason, Tim, and Bane all break into the castle, and once inside, Bane realizes that all of the soldiers that make up the Order of St. Dumas are actually his old army. They converted his people. Things get even worse once the announcements start going off that there are intruders. Then a man in a red cloak wielding a flaming sword walks over to them. I am his angel of death. I am Azrael. Knowing what happens next is your choice. You came to this place seeking death. Consider it found. But it's Bane who isn't playing games anymore as he exclaims, you angel of death know nothing of the word. They prayed to Bane. And then he leaped in to fight Azrael. While they begin fighting, Jason and Tim find themselves in a battle with the followers. They aren't doing too bad, but Azrael manages to cut Bane's venom supply, and then he places his hand on Bane's forehead, showing him the light. Tim and Jason see Bane go motionless, and they wonder what's going on. But Jason thinks that they should do something while they can. Tim has to remind him though, Bane came for that fight. They came here for information, so it's time for them to go. And as they run off, Bane begins to stand up, stating that he was wrong. He sees now. Using their skills, Tim and Jason get deeper and deeper into the facility until they reach the mainframe computer. The followers of St. Dumas begin crashing through the windows, and Tim tells Jason to start the hack since he's almost out of bullets. He shouts out orders and Jason tries to figure it all out. Luckily, Tim is an expert martial artist, and he drops each of the followers until Jason has hacked the systems, revealing that Azrael is actually a man named Jean-Paul Valley. He's one of Mother's children. He has no history. Meanwhile, several years ago, when Dick Grayson first became Robin, Bruce returns to the Prague Batcave injured from his meeting with Mother, and he demands that Robin take his mask off. If he's going to make simple mistakes like this, he can't be Robin. He's going to get himself killed. Robin freaks out on Bruce. He isn't his son or his sidekick. He is his partner. He put this mask on himself, and if Bruce won't admit that Robin is his partner, maybe they should be done. Back in the present, Azrael follows Tim and Jason into the room, and he asks, why are they here if Gotham's Dark Knight is dead? Does the city have a new father with no place for the sons? And then he begins to swing his flaming sword at Tim and Jason. Jason gets dropped right away, and Tim jumps back in to continue fighting. He tries to snap Azrael out of it. He isn't a tool for Mother to use. Tim tells him that his real name is Jean-Paul Valley, and he's being played. But even once his mask is knocked off, Jean-Paul knows his purpose, and he smacks Tim in the face, allowing him to see the light and his purpose. He can gaze and know all. Jason runs up to Jean-Paul, grabbing his sword and knocking him down to save Tim. Jason then grabs Tim and he jumps out the window. Meanwhile, over in Prague, Harper and Grayson are following their trail trying to find Mother, and they eventually swim onto the shores of Mudge Island, British Columbia, where they are welcomed by a woman who claims to know everything about Harper Row. They walk in and the woman explains that she is Mother's sculptor. She shows them that she is a telepath and that she can read minds. But since Grayson is a secret agent, she can't read him. He has anti-mind reading technology in his head. Then she further explains, Mother needs to be stopped and Grayson needs to be the one to stop her. After his stun at the ballet, they have a chance, but eventually she'll vanish until she chooses to resurface again. Her job as the sculptor is to go into the children's minds and shape them like clay. But Mother has taken all of the children, and she's going to be destroying any trail of her, including the children. The sculptor can't have any of those children dying, so she wants to enter Grayson's mind and show him what happened and where the kids are and where he can find Mother. Grayson doesn't trust her in there. With the anti-telepath technology, she could end up frying both their brains, so Harper ends up volunteering. The sculptor walks over and enters Harper's mind to show her Cassandra Cain's history. Cassandra is Orphan, otherwise known as David's daughter, the one that he had in secret. Mother was using new technology like the Scarecrow's fear gas to make her soldiers, but David wanted to show her that the old ways were the best ways. So he forbade his daughter from even talking, hoping to rewire her brain to understand body language and movement instead of words. Then he trained her over and over. When that wasn't working, he wanted Cassandra to have no regard for human life, and he slaughtered innocents in front of her over and over, until eventually she was unbeatable and ruthless. So once David was happy with his creation, he presented it to Mother. But she wanted nothing to do with Cassandra, and she was appalled that David would train Cassandra in secret. She told David that he could keep his pet, but to never bring her to Mother again. Cassandra did become an assassin in her own right, but unlike the other assassin children, she wasn't happy with what she did, and as she cut a woman's throat, there were tears in her eyes. Then the sculptor brought Harper to one of the most shocking moments, the meeting of Mother and Batman, the time when he was to learn who the heir was. Grayson freaked out, trying to get Harper out of it, and he pulled her out, telling her that this was above her pay grade. He almost injured her and the sculptor because he was being so rash about it. Then he demanded that the sculptor meld with him, forget all of his anti-mind reading technology. He needs to know what Batman was doing with Mother. He then forces his way into the sculptor's head to get his answers. He falls into a memory about David being one of Mother's children, and the sculptor being trapped with him as one of Mother's special children. She would use David to kill the parents of a child, and then the sculptor would scrub the child's mind of anything not needed. It was all a part of Mother's plan, to mold children into her weapons and sell them off. But the ones that weren't worthy, they were to be discarded. The sculptor decided that she can't stand by while Mother kills off all of the children and starts over. So she taps into Grayson's brain and gives him everything to find Mother if he moves fast enough. Then she walks him into the deeper recesses of the memories to show him what Batman was doing. She brings Dick to the moment that Batman showed up at Mother's headquarters asking for a new heir, a new Robin. And he explained to Mother that he had been blind to Dick's mistakes, his shortcomings as a sidekick. Grayson looked on in shock while Batman agreed to whatever Mother wanted, and he told her that he wanted to be there at the birth of his new Robin because he felt that he was too passive with Dick Grayson, and that was the problem. Grayson was stunned, stating that he couldn't believe that this was Batman. He wouldn't say this about Dick. Mother then asked, "Are you ready to kill for me, Bruce?" And Batman replied, "Yes." It was too much for Grayson, and he grabbed the sculptor, telling her it was a lie, but she revealed the truth. Batman betrayed him, and that's Mother's influence. Grayson woke up suddenly, and the sculptor told him that he and Harper now had everything that they needed to save Cassandra and the other children. Then the entire building vanished. It was all a psychic trick, and the sculptor was gone. Grayson put on his diving gear and he told Harper to come on. The sculptor wants them to stop Mother from killing all of the children, and they might be too late already. Deep down in the caves where the children are being kept, though, Grayson was right. All of the children have been slaughtered by a rather upset-looking Cassandra Cain. After hitching a ride, Cassandra Cain leaps off of a jet into the area where Mother's secret base is. She pops out a glider and then using a grappling hook, she pulls herself in. And that's when she sees the nursery, a structure built inside of a cave where no one can find it. Cassandra destroys the defenses and she walks inside. There she's flooded with memories of Mother taking care of her children. But Cassandra was an outcast as she was David the orphan's child. This place is filled with memories of rejection and terrible acts turned against her. And she presses forward, cutting up the defenses and destroying various robots. She continues looking for the children. She wants to help them, to save them, but she can't find them until she finds herself face to face with Orphan. He beat her to the facility and he throws her into a pit. The pit is lined with the bodies of the children that he slaughtered. He beat her there and killed them all. She looks in horror as her hands are covered in the blood of those that she came to save, and she panics. She fires her grappling hook up out of the pit, pulling herself to safety, and then she dodges David and runs deeper into the facility. David starts to tell her that she started this when she went to Batman. If she hadn't run, none of this would be happening. You see, several months ago when Joker attacked Gotham during Endgame, during the event that would force Batman to lose his memory, Cassandra came to him for help, to let him know that Mother was active again. He hadn't stopped her. He turned to Cass to tell her, "Bring this flash drive to Dick Grayson if I don't come back from this. I need to stop the Joker before I can help you, and I don't know if I'm gonna survive." Cass looked at him worried, and he realized she was scared, afraid of this whole event. So he told her that she needs to know that she isn't what they made her into. She is a hero because she took her own path. Then he held her close before jumping back into the fight with the Joker. Back in the present, Cass took the blood on her hands and she smeared it on her face in the shape of a bat signal. She is a hero. She jumped in to fight against David, knocking him to the ground, and that's when Grayson and Harper Rowe showed up and hit David with their stun gun. Harper sees the smeared blood on Cass's face and tells her, cool bat? Cass jumps into her arms. Her friends have returned. And that's the moment that a giant hologram face of Mother appears to the group. It all ends here tonight. I hoped the others would be with you, Jason and Timothy, but plans never quite go as you hoped. David looks concerned, but Mother tells him that he did her proud. Now she's going to blow up this whole facility. David accepts his fate and he continues his battle against Grayson, Harper, and Cass, and he tells the defenses to kill everything in sight. Harper and Cass run off towards the main room, looking for a shut off the nuke button, while Grayson keeps David busy. Grayson screams, "You're delusional!" to David, and David snickers. Really? That's funny coming from one of Batman's failed children. Grayson doesn't believe it though. Batman never betrayed him. And David tells him he was there back then. Back when Grayson thought he was running a mission against the Scarecrow, Crane wasn't the enemy. A long time ago, as Grayson's first year as Robin, Batman and Robin broke into a facility looking to stop the Scarecrow. During the fight, they got separated, and Batman went to go see Scarecrow alone. But Batman didn't want to fight the Scarecrow. He wanted all of the information on Mother that the Scarecrow had, and Scarecrow wasn't willing to give it up. To keep Robin busy during this, he sent Robin to the roof to disarm a bomb and keep him out of the conversation. Scarecrow explained that Mother was using his fear toxins to train her soldiers. He needed funding and she needed the formula, so he created the trauma toxin. But she wants to take it too far. She wants to set off the trauma gas in every major city, creating armies of soldiers for herself. Scarecrow can't even stomach that. He wants out, but Batman wants to learn more before he'll let Scarecrow out. Scarecrow refused though, telling him that this wasn't the deal that he wanted to offer. If he told Batman this information, Mother would kill him. So Batman grabbed him by the throat and held him off the catwalk. "You're going to give Mother her report, and you're going to tell her exactly what I tell you to relay to her." Scarecrow becomes afraid, telling Batman that this isn't the deal, and Batman throws him down. "This isn't a deal. You work for me now." Back in the present day, Harper is trying to hack into the systems while Cass is destroying the robots trying to stop them. But after messing with the computers, Harper realizes that even she can't do it. She can't stop Mother's nuke from going off. With tears in her eyes, she holds Cass close. "I'm glad I met you, Cassandra." And as they prepare to go down fighting robots, Grayson walks over telling them that David had control and he turned off the robots. They all run to the jet that Grayson and Harper took to get to the base, and they fly off as the whole building goes up in a mushroom cloud behind them. Then he tells everyone that they're going back to Spiral HQ with their prisoner, Orphan. And then he turns to Cass. "No more secrets. back with Jason and Tim. They were battling against the Order of Saint Dumas and Azrael. While they did escape, they needed to get more information. So Tim came up with a plan and he walked to their holy city with Jason as his prisoner, offering to join the Order and give Jason as his offering. Azrael stands there with his flaming sword in hand, not willing to trust them. But the leader of the Order invites Tim inside and tells Azrael to bring Tim with him and put Jason into a hole in the ground. Jason tells him that this is dumb. A hole can't hold him. He's been trained by the greatest escape artist in the world. And then they put a ceiling on it. And he admits, this is a tad trickier. Tim meets the infamous Saint Dumas of the Order, and he explains that the title is passed down throughout the generations, and he wants Tim to become his new Angel of Death. And he wants Jean-Paul Valley and Tim Drake to fight it out for the title. Jason breaks out and starts looking for the answers as to how the Order is linked to Mother. What is Project Ithathy? While Tim and Jean-Paul begin fighting. But while all of this has been happening, both Tim and Jason have been counting down. And at the exact moment that they both reach zero, Tim throws down an EMP, shorting out the entire sanctum while throwing a hardening grenade at Azrael. He explains to Saint Dumas that while he was keeping busy here, Jason just robbed them of everything linking them to Mother. But Saint Dumas isn't done yet. He grabs a hold of Tim and he holds him in the air. And he tells him that he will die with Azrael, since he was so set on causing Azrael's faith to waver. While this is happening, Jason begins to break open the doors into Project Ithathy, when suddenly he's hit with what appears to be a psychic attack. He doesn't find himself in the sanctum anymore. He finds himself at the mercy of the Joker again, as the bad memories begin to flood in. All three of them, Jason, Tim, and Azrael, are brought to the mercy of Saint Dumas, and he explains to Tim exactly what he's been after. What the Order helped Mother perfect was Project Ithathy. It was used on Azrael, and right now Jason is falling victim to it. All of Mother's trauma and soldier building in a single moment, instantly turning people into soldiers for Mother's army. While Jason is fighting back against the Joker and his memories, Tim tries to get Azrael to remember, to snap out of this. Jean-Paul, they took everything from you, your name, your life, your family. With his faith already wavering, Azrael remembers what they did to his family, and he breaks free from the mold around him with his flaming sword in hand. He begins swinging it around, cutting up the supposed Saint Dumas free of his tethers, and he begins dropping members of the Order. He is not the Angel of Death, he is Azrael, and if they wish to meet their god, he will send them there himself. Tim gets free and he jumps over to Jason, where he starts trying to talk Jason out of it. Wake up, Jason! Jason snaps to, throws his helmet on, and the three of them decide it's time to end this. But as the fight continues, Azrael decides it's time for them to leave, and he shoves his sword into the ground, throwing fire everywhere, burning everyone up around them. Jason and Tim begin to run out, debating if they should go back for Azrael, but they end up finding a plane and deciding that he can kind of handle himself. So they take off, leaving Azrael to himself in the desert to let him sort his own life out. Tim and Jason look at each other because they are family and they survive because of it. But several years ago in Cairo, Egypt, Batman walks up to a trash can where he picks up a pistol and he walks into the night where a single shot can be heard. They brought him to Spiral headquarters, as this is the spy organization that Grayson works for now. And while they try to get information out of him, he brings up the most important question. What were Batman and Robin doing in Cairo all those years ago? Which brings us back to Dick Grayson's first year, where Batman is standing over a panicked child and his apparently dead parents holding a gun. Mother walks over and congratulates Batman for completing the task. And he asks her, "What now?" And she tells him they'll take the child and they'll train him before finding him a new home. Batman is confused. He agreed to do this so that he could be there at the birth of his new Robin, his replacement for Dick Grayson. But the kid screams, "Batman is a dirty stinking liar! This is a trick! They're both still breathing, and he didn't kill them!" Orphan grabs Batman from behind, and Mother asks what he used. Rubber bullets? Paralytic squibs? This really is too bad, Bruce. I could have been the mother that you never had. Batman struggles to get free from Orphan, and he tells her, "You overestimate yourself, Mother. Scarecrow knows what you're doing to him, and he was more than willing to give that push to make you believe that I would fall into your psychotic plans. And Robin, I never lost faith in Dick Grayson. He may have made mistakes when he was young, but he'll learn. Besides, his mistakes brought you to me. Robin helped drag you out in the open, Mother." Frustrated, Mother tells Orphan to kill the Batman. "Detonate!" Batman shouts, and all around them, the ground begins to explode. In the confusion, Batman throws Orphan down, and he throws some cuffs onto Mother. Then Orphan gets back up and begins to battle against Batman again. They go back and forth, and while this is happening, Mother calls over the kid to tell him to find a big rock and break her thumbs. She has to get these cuffs off. Then she walks over, calling to Batman and putting a knife to the kid's throat. With the distraction in place, Orphan hits Batman over the back of the head, dropping him, and Mother orders the death of Batman. Meanwhile, in the present day, Harper Row is sneaking onto the school grounds where Spiral's secret base is, and while this is happening, Grayson's friends have arrived. Jason Todd and Tim Drake completed their mission of stopping the Order of Saint Dumas. Harper walks into the cell where Orphan is being kept because she wants him to know that she knows what he did to Cassandra. The sculptor showed her, and he's the world's worst father. Orphan asks what else does she know, because there is so much that she probably doesn't understand. Tim and Jason walk into into the Spiral main room to relay the information that they got from the Order of Saint Dumas, the Ichthyi. They explain that it's a virus that gets into your mind and it rewrites your mind, triggering your greatest traumas and turning you into Mother soldiers. The only way Red Hood was able to beat it was by embracing his fear. Down in the cells, Orphan reveals his biggest secret. Cassandra has been to Gotham before she went there to find Grayson. She went there to kill for Batman. Back in the past, when Orphan was about to kill Batman, he got up and threw Orphan down. Then he blew up the walls of the building that they were in, injuring Mother and burying Orphan. He walked over to recapture Mother, and she showed him the truth. The child that he just saw was never supposed to be his Robin. She didn't trust Batman enough, but they were going through with the real plan right now. Her assassin, Cassandra Cain, was in Gotham at that very moment, and the targets were Miranda and Marcus Rowe, Harper Rowe's parents. While being forced to watch and demanding that Mother stop this, Batman watched as Cassandra leaped in and murdered Harper Rowe's mother, and then Harper's father made a break for it. Back in the present day, Orphan revealed this information to Harper, and with tears in her eyes, she didn't want to believe it. Cassandra couldn't have killed her mother. But Orphan explained Cassandra's first mission was that, and she failed by letting Harper's father live. Then Batman, well, he knew what happened, and he denied you your place by his side. Back in the past, Batman grabbed Mother, telling her that this is over. She isn't ruining any more lives. Then she swallowed a cyanide tablet and died in his hands. The police arrived and Batman had to make a break for it. Back in the present day, Grayson, Tim, Jason, and Helena all realized what the plan with Ichthyi is. Mother didn't want to use it on a large scale hitting a city at first. No, she wanted to start by using it on a smaller scale, like the school that they are all standing in, the one where the kids are already trained to be assassins. At that moment, almost as if on cue, a blaring sound comes out across the loudspeakers. They seal up the main room, but it's too late. The entire facility is turned into loyal assassins of mothers. The teachers begin fighting with the students, and the students begin trying to kill anyone that isn't chanting Mother. Meanwhile, Jason Todd decided to go looking for Harper, and he found her in the basement, but as he gets there, she turns her stun gun on Jason, chanting Mother. Tim quickly puts it together, and he realizes that this is a small-scale test because Mother is trying to get at Spiral's Hypnos technology, which is a satellite hanging over the Earth, which can affect the entire planet. Down in the basement, the taser shots from Harper shorted out the whole system, knocking out Jason and herself, and freeing Orphan and Poppy, the other prisoner who works for Mother that they had down below. Poppy and Orphan begin to run because the brainwashed children are going to kill anyone not chanting Mother, and Orphan and Poppy are no exception. Meanwhile, back in the control room, Tim and Cass begin to feel the effects of the noise, and they both begin to chant Mother. It's having its effect on any child under the age of 20. Cass begins to fight it out with Helena while Tim and Grayson begin to roll around on the ground, but it's the doctor in the room with them that tries to come up with a drastic measure, slapping a face mask on Tim which pumps Scarecrow's fear gas into him. Using it, he can overcome the sound and face his fears instead. Not a much better situation though, as Tim looks terrified, but at least he isn't brainwashed anymore. They slap the same thing on Cass, and then Grayson comes up with a plan. Helena is going to take Red Robin and the doctor to the generator room and shut down this whole place, while Grayson himself goes to find Jason and Harper. Grayson runs into the middle of the school where he sees Jason already trying to fight against the kids, and just then Harper jumps in to fight against Grayson and Jason. Cass grabs her, holding her down and slapping a fear gas mask on her. It doesn't help though, as Harper now sees her greatest fear, the girl that killed her mother, and she grabs Cass by the throat to begin strangling her. She begins constantly beating on Cass, and Cass tries to talk some sense into her. Cass isn't able to say very many words, but she did learn some new ones. Harper, no. She tries to tell her, pushing her back, but every time that Harper looks at Cass, she sees the blood of her parents on Cass's hands, and she tries to use her stun gun on Cass just as Grayson saves her. Cass jumps back into the fight with Harper, once again stating new words that she seemingly has learned. Please, stop. Friends. Friends share, Harper tells her. I have to take something from you. It's the only way. But to make matters worse, the stun gun shot opened the door behind Grayson, where he sees Poppy is now roaming free on the grounds. She jumps right in, prepared to fight against Grayson. While this is happening, Helena, Tim, and the doctor are all trying to get to the generator room, but Orphan arrives and he begins to fight against them. Helena tells Tim and the doctor to get down there now while she handles Orphan. Over with Cass and Harper, they are going back and forth, with Cass trying to not hurt Harper, and then Jason jumps in, knocking Harper over. Cass is still trying to fight against the fear gas as well though, and she doesn't see Jason helping. She sees Orphan about to kill Harper. Not knowing what she's doing, she fires the taser at Jason because Harper, my friend. With the sprinklers going going off in the room, the shot hits them and all three are stunned and dropped. Over with Grayson and Helena, they're fighting their villains, and that's when Orphan and Poppy hold their hands up, showing an eye that taps into the hypnos inside of Helena and Grayson's brains, taking something out of it. Mother's plan worked. She got the codes to the hypnos. Then Orphan and Poppy leave just as Tim shuts down the generator, stopping all of the assassins in the building. It's over, but they lost, because Helena explains that the hypnos had a new technology in it. A technology that can wipe everyone's memories of something. You see, the whole world knows that Dick Grayson is Nightwing, so that is why he came to work as a spy for Spiral. Helena created a way to take that information from the world's mind, allowing Grayson to go back to being Nightwing. And now Mother has that technology. Plus, she has her Itchathies technology. What are they gonna do now? At that moment, everyone hears a thud as a giant bat lands, and off hops Damian Wayne. Well, you've all made quite a mess. Lucky for you, the real Robin is here to fix it. Tears begin to well up in Harper's eyes as she was holding her mother, and this leaves Batman with a choice. Does he take in Harper and her brother Cullen, possibly turning them into soldiers in his war on Gotham? Or does he give them a chance at happiness by sending them back to their father? He isn't happy with anything that has happened in this adventure, and he wants more answers. So he tells Dick Grayson that he needs to tie up some loose ends, and he's going to leave Dick in charge of watching Gotham while he's gone. Dick is a little shocked. Is this how Batman takes a vacation? You're gonna trust me to watch over the city while you're gone? And Batman tells him, well, Superman's doing flybys every hour. So he goes to Eastern Europe, where he gets a car and he drives up into the mountains. He arrives at a mansion and he's welcomed by a woman in charge of the site, Miss Marchenko. She's smiling and happy to have the celebrity Bruce Wayne under her roof. She explains that this is a place of serenity, a place to gather his peace of mind. And he informs her that that's exactly what he was looking for. He explains that he was scouring the countryside looking for answers to questions that he's had for the last week. And he believes that she has the answers that he needs. Her eyes grow sad and she looks down, before asking him to just outright ask what he's looking for. I want a story from 15 years ago. A story of a woman covered in scars. And Miss Marchenko asks, how did you find me? I can't tell you this story. Bruce tells her not to worry. Mother is gone and she can't hurt anyone anymore. So Miss Marchenko starts her story of a city at war, with the Red Army invading it. On the streets of this city, there is a poor girl whose parents had debts with every business in town, and she was the payment. She was passed around the town and she ended up in a tavern where she saw the city was on the edge of madness. And with one little push, she helped it over the edge. One of the commanders bit into a piece of chicken and he began to gasp and he reached out. The soldiers all claimed that he was poisoned. The tavern thought that he had choked, and only one girl knew the truth. But honestly, it didn't matter. The soldiers opened fire on the citizens in the city. She ran for her freedom with the sounds of guns going off behind her, stepping over bodies and running through blood. But eventually she made it back to her parents, to find that rifles were pointed at them, and they mouthed the words to her, run. She stood there and watched them die. Something inside her broke that day. Watching the bullets tear apart the bodies of her parents did something, and she knew her life was over. She lay on the bodies, hoping the soldiers would ignore her, getting ready for her escape. But to check if they were actually dead, she was stabbed 7 times. She didn't even flinch. She stood up and sneaked into their camp that night, murdering all of the guards in their sleep before she started her life anew. She then came to this building, Miss Marchenko told him, where she met this girl, and the girl met her parents. That night, this mystery girl killed Marchenko's parents and told her that she was her mother now. Bruce thanks Miss Marchenko for her story and tells her not to worry. Mother is gone now. No more parents will die at her hand. Then he walked out of the building and he got back into his car. And Miss Marchenko stated, make it quick, Mother. Mother stepped out of the shadows and killed Miss Marchenko. She wasn't actually dead. Bruce went back home with his decision made. He would leave Harper and Cullen with their coward of a father, but he would ensure that Harper's father took care of her and had a job. He then went back to the Batcave and he decided that he needed to get rid of this whole case. His failure. So he purged the computer of every record that he had on Mother. This is why there is no trace of Mother in her activity in the present day for Grayson to find when she came back onto the scene. And since Bruce Wayne has amnesia during the period that this story is taking place, he can't fill Grayson in about this. Mother has resurfaced and started a new plan, one that would infect the entire world with her methods of making assassins, giving her enough soldiers to take over whatever she wants. And it was up to Dick Grayson, Harper Row, Cassandra Cain, Tim Drake, and Jason Todd to stop her. And even Damian Wayne just showed up. But they just lost another fight to Mother, and she gained access to the satellite that would ensure that her plan would happen. She also kidnapped Harper and Cassandra Cain. With Orphan, Poppy, Harper, and Cassandra on their way back to Mother's base, Grayson can't help but wonder, what's the plan now? Grayson runs his hand through his hair, telling everyone, Batman lost a mother before. Maybe this is it. Maybe we lost. And Damian smacks Grayson over the face. Shut up! We have not lost so long as we can scrape together. Jason steps in. Batman failed, kid. We inherited his failure, the impossible. Don't you dare invoke my father's name as a reason to quit, Jason. This can't possibly be the end. There are resources, plans, actions that we can take. So he decides to tell them a story, where Batman explained to him the purpose of each Robin. It was to have people surpass him. Dick was a clearer vision of what Batman was supposed to be. Jason was the one willing to do what Batman couldn't. Tim has the strategic sense to make even Bruce envious. He wanted them all to decide for themselves what they are. They aren't just mini Batmans. Damian leaves it with, if Mother was left to them, it's because Batman believed that we could beat Mother. Jason turns to the group. I'd feel guilty if I didn't even try to save the world after that. Back in Mother's base, Orphan walks in with his two prisoners, Harper and Cassandra. Mother thanks him for his loyalty, but informs him that his purpose is done, and she coldly slits his throat, throwing him away. Then she walked to Cassandra to tell her, it's okay, he's free of his need for Mother now. Then she welcomes what she learned from David, how to make more orphans, and she welcomes them to the girls. She lets both Harper and Cassandra know that she wants them to survive this. She wants to bring them into the family. She wants to be their mother. And she presses a button to welcome the new world, a world that Mother owns, and the entire world has people converting to followers of Mother. Hey Colin, it's Harper. I'm sorting this out. Call Hernan about the window and tell him that we fought a robber. If anyone else shows up to kill us, let me know. Hey, it's Wednesday, I think. The plot kinda thickened. I'm headed out of town. You and Steph keep an eye out and don't do anything dumb. Hey, I know I haven't called in like a week, but things are a mess. We have to find Cassandra. I'll be gone for a while. Get help if you need it. Colin, things are... Just be careful out there. I love you, and listen, everything will be alright. Cullen is Harper's little brother, and he's in their apartment listening to her voicemails ever since she vanished. But now, standing in front of him is Stephanie Brown, the spoiler, and Tim Drake, Red Robin. Tim tells them that they have to go because they have a plan, and they're going to need Cullen for his computer skills. He's gonna have to work with a guy who has a precog fight computer in his brain. Luckily, this guy is on the good guy side, and his name is Midnighter. Meanwhile, around the world, it's been 11 minutes since Mother activated the satellite, and the children around the world are starting to chant, Mother, Mother, Mother! Back with our heroes, they are rallying anyone that they can get. Katana, Catwoman, Batgirl are already in, and they reach out to try and get more superheroes. Right now, Mother is controlling 12 major cities that have transmitters in them that are broadcasting Mother's signal, sending it off to convert more people with the Itchathes system. So, they're going to use Midnighter's teleportation doors to get 12 people around the world to stop these transmitters. They also have a secondary plan. Scarecrow's fear gas can knock people affected by Mother out of her brainwashing techniques. Jason doors into Scarecrow's cell, dragging him to the factory where he tells him to make 100 gallons of the trauma toxin. Otherwise, they'll turn him over to Mother. And with his past dealings with her, well, he knows that means death. Then, with 45 minutes past the start of Mother's plans, everyone gives Midnighter and Grayson the green light. It's time to begin. Around the world, we have Batman and Robin, Damian, Red Hood, Red Robin, Batwoman, Batgirl, Katana, Catwoman, Helena, Talon, Black Canary, and Spiral itself, all trying to stop these transmitters. Grayson himself is tracing Mother's signal back to her Arctic base, and it's his job to stop her directly. While the heroes are fighting across the world, Harper is being held captive by Mother, and Mother walks into the room that she gave Harper to ask if she's okay. She shows Harper that her plan is in action, her attempt to make the world better, and she explains that the world will become better, as she did. When the soldiers attacked her town, she was the only survivor, and she is stronger for it. Had her neighbors been as strong as she was, they would have survived as well, and the world itself has become meek and horrible, and she wants to allow them the same chance to become stronger. Batman should have trained her all of those years ago, when she had Cassandra murder Harper's mother, but instead of preparing Harper, he left Harper with her father. And I do not intend to make the same mistake. I will prepare you. Then she hands Harper her bluebird mask, welcoming her to the new world. Outside, Grayson is preparing to enter the building as a plane flies overhead, dropping someone off. Azrael! I am Azrael, and I am here for two lives, my own and Mother's. Join my crusade or get out of my way. Grayson jumps in to fight against Azrael and tell him that Mother needs to be held accountable, not killed. And catching one of Grayson's weapons, Azrael tells him, I'm going to have to disagree. Meanwhile, back inside of the base, Mother is walking Harper down the long hallways, telling her that she could be so much more, and she wants to give her an extraordinary life. But she'll need to take back what Batman stole from her. She needs to make her life her own and cut ties. And then Mother hands her a knife, with Cassandra bound and suspended in front of them. With everyone still fighting around the world and Scarecrow making more trauma toxin, Grayson finds himself fighting against a guy with flaming swords, Azrael. He tries to convince him that killing Mother will only lionize her to her followers. She needs to be brought to justice. She needs to be exposed. But Azrael doesn't want to hear it. He used to believe in something greater, and his whole life is a lie thanks to the order of Saint Dumas and Mother. Mother. So Grayson sees no other option and he breaks the sword in half. Azrael then lights up the fire blades in his gauntlets and continues to try and hit Grayson. As Grayson continues to try and convince Azrael of something more. There has to be more purpose to this. Didn't you want to be something greater, Azrael? You still can. And finally, Azrael stops swinging to ask, tell me how. Meanwhile, inside of the base, Harper asks Mother if she's insane. She can't kill Cassandra no matter what she did. Mother goes into a speech about how Cassandra killed her mother and how Harper fell from the path of greatness because of it. But Harper stops her. If you think I'll murder someone for your... Don't interrupt. Kill her and prove your convictions and at last you'll join me. Once you do that, you can join me in a perfect world. Is Cassandra worth giving that up for? She's a broken instrument. Her guilt is so powerful that it broke her beyond repair. Imagine a little girl made to kill that is unable to stomach killing. So useless that I ordered her execution and then she ran off to Batman. Do you not see? She is beyond repair. You think you can sell me on mercy? While they're arguing, Cassandra has tears in her eyes. Back with Midnighter in Command Central, Cullen informs him that the trauma toxin is ready, but there are 12 orphans leading the armies in each city. Orphan is the name of the top assassins in Mother's army, her children. And our heroes have no way to deploy the toxin and guard it long enough with the orphans all there. So Midnighter smiles. Only 12, huh? Cullen smiles with him. Oh, I get it. So around the world, our heroes begin to knock the orphans into doorways, teleporting them to one spot, and they all stumble into a single room where Midnighter is standing. He cracks his knuckles. Well, hello there. Let me know when you're all ready. And he begins by breaking their weapons with his bare hands. Over in Tokyo, a doorway opened up and Spoiler fires a grappling hook through one of the doorways and it comes out the other onto the transmitter tower, instantly pulling herself up that high before breaking the tower. While Duke is breaking his and Batgirl is throwing a batarang at hers, Red Robin tells everyone to mask up. They aren't out of the woods yet. With the transmitters down and the orphans out of play, they need to spread the trauma toxin to turn all of the kids back to normal. The gases all begin to spread and the job is done. Mother's hold over the world has currently ended, and in response to this, she shouts, "No!" shattering her monitor. Harper walked over to Cassandra, considering Mother's words, and Mother tells Harper, "No one will stop me from saving the world." But then a baton hits the ground next to them. "Sorry, Mother, but I think that's my job," Grayson says, climbing into the room. Grayson sees Harper standing over Cassandra with a knife, and he tells her, "Don't do this!" But Mother tells Grayson that this is her new world, and Harper is going to join her tonight, isn't she? Harper looks up and tells everyone to be quiet. She has to think. And Cassandra tells her, "Harper, do it. Make you feel better. Do it." Harper kneels down to Cass and tells Cass to look at her. And then with a smile, she tells her, "There is no way in hell I would ever hurt you. That's not who my mom raised me to be." And then she throws her knife at an electrical line. The line begins to short out and Mother shouts, "No!" And Harper jumps in her face, punching her. "You keep talking to me like I'm some broken animal, someone that has a hole that needs to be filled in my life. But you don't know me. You don't know my story. So you can take your crappy philosophy and shove it." And with that, she punches Mother again. Mother smiles. "You are so much weaker than I had hoped, Harper." And she pulls out a gun to shoot at Harper. But that's when Cassandra jumps in the way of the gun, taking the shot to the shoulder to protect Harper. Then Grayson radios it in. "Do it now!" Elsewhere, Azrael begins to destroy Mother's central computer, cutting off her connection to the satellite. Furious, Mother calls out to her children to save her. But while the orphans arrive, so do the Bat family, coming through the teleporter doors, and they jump in to fight the orphans. Harper helps up Cassandra and tells her, "I'm sorry, Cass. It hurt when I found out that you killed my mom, but I know it wasn't really you. Not who you really are. I know who you are. So let's finish this together." But as they get ready to fight the orphans in front of them, they all drop to a shock, and Spoiler is standing there. "Mind if I step in?" "Here, Harper. I brought you the biggest, shockiest one that I could find," and she throws Harper a stun gun. With everyone dropping Mother's children, Grayson chases after her himself. Then she gets the drop on Grayson, but he didn't come alone. He brought the Robins. Tim, Jason, and Damian all stand with him. She begins to fight against all of them, getting the better of them, telling them Batman should have understood. He should have seen what you could have all become. But Grayson tells her, he did. He saw that we could be better than him, that our lives didn't have to be defined by our traumas like his was. "You don't understand, Batman. You don't understand Robin. And you never did," he says as he drops her. Mother isn't done yet though, as she tells her computer to activate the self-destruct sequence. The ground begins to split apart, separating Grayson and Mother, and Tim tells Grayson that they've got to leave. They're gonna die if they stay here. But Grayson refuses to leave, not until he gets his hands on Mother and makes her answer for her crimes. With no one on Mother's side, Grayson sees Cassandra there, and she begins to run at Mother. "Oh God, she's gonna kill her," Grayson says. Cass runs in and begins to beat on Mother, beating every single one of Mother's moves until she has her dead to rights. Grayson calls out, "Cass, no!" But she tells Mother, "Won't kill, never again," and she knocks Mother down. Mother then stands up. "You can't hold me forever. My children will come for," and then she stops. Because David Kane, Cassandra's father and the original orphan, the one that she murdered, just stabbed her through the back. Then, as Grayson calls out to David to bring her and himself over to the rest of the group, David holds Mother close and he jumps into the fiery depths beneath the castle. Cassandra calls out no, as it was her father that jumped to his death, and everyone leaves the castle having won. Outside of the building, Cullen doored his way there and jumps into Harper's arms. Harper! Oh, Cullen, I have so much to tell you. I ran a whole war computer and there's a scary gay Batman and he's awesome. And then Spoiler walks over hugging them both. Are we doing family time? Aw, we're doing family time. And then she turns to Cass. Hey Cass, right? Get in on this. Cassandra smiles as she finally has the one thing that she never had in her life. Family. 1 month later, Bruce Wayne is finally back as Batman and the events of Super Heavy have completed, and Harper Row is standing in front of her mother's tombstone. Batman drops down in front of her and tells her that he wants to say something, but she stops him. You could have told me. I know you probably thought you were doing the right thing, but when I started to put this suit on and coming to work with you and the rest of the Bat family, you should have told me. What do you want to do now? That's one hell of a question, isn't it? I just applied for a scholarship with the Wayne Foundation to the Gotham Technical Institution. Maybe I'll take a little time for myself. Bluebird is always welcome in Gotham. Like you ever had a choice in the matter, Bats. Remember, I figured out how to track your butt down. This is my life, Batman. Don't you forget it. As Harper walks away, Batman tells Cassandra that she can come out of hiding now. Harper is gonna follow her own path. You can do the same. Leave this life. No. What do you want to do? Help. Cassandra. No. Orphan. Very well, Orphan. Let's get started. Then Batman went over to Grayson to tell him good job, and to let him know that both Harper and Cassandra have decided the directions that their lives will take. Grayson looks at him. Bruce, you know you didn't make me Robin, right? I was heading down this path all on my own. Then Damian and Jason both swung onto the rooftop, and the bat signal went off into the sky. Batman told everyone, looks like a job for Batman and Robin. Which Robin? All of them. And the whole group swung in to continue their adventures. And there you have it, you have stayed for an entire full story, our longest videos here at Comicstorian, and I appreciate you for hanging out to the ending of this video. Now let me know, what did you think about Batman and Robin Eternal? It was a giant mystery, it was interesting, it was fun, and I really enjoyed both of the Eternal series. Now, to show me that you have made it to the end of this video, I need you to say a key phrase in the comments down below. Last time we had cookie, and I appreciate all of you saying cookie. This time, I need you to say, key lime pie is better than Dan. It makes no sense, but it'll tell me you watched the video. So key lime pie is better than Dan. And for those of you guys who don't know who Dan is, come and join us on our podcast on every Saturday and Sunday where we talk about comic books, because Dan's the co-host. Dan actually hosts the one on Sunday. It's the thing we do over on twitch.tv/eligiblemonster. Thank you for watching this. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more full stories, complete stories, know your universes, and various bits of video game